This is a DJI Osmo 360 and it's one of the most fun cameras you can use. It captures full 360-degree video and gives you all kinds of options for your shots. The DJI Mimo app is hands down the best way to work with 360 footage, especially if you're putting together short clips for social media. It makes it quick and simple to edit, reframe, and share your shots. But when you need to use 360 footage in a conventional project, it's nice to be able to reframe and edit everything right inside of Final Cut Pro. The workflow isn't quite as smooth as the app, but Final Cut Pro gives you a full set of 360 tools, so you can work with your clips directly in your project. And this doesn't just apply to the Osmo 360. Final Cut Pro can handle Insta360 and GoPro Max footage the same way. In this video, I'll show you exactly how to do it. Before you can edit your 360 clips in Final Cut Pro, you first need to convert them into an equirectangular format. For this, you'll need the DJI Studio app, which you can download for free from their website. Insert your SD card or connect your Osmo 360 camera directly to your computer. Open DJI Studio and click Create Project. From here, click Import to bring in your files. If you're using an SD card, select the card as your source. If your footage is still in your camera, you can also import directly from the device. Once your files are in, add a clip to the timeline. Then, in the top right corner, click Export. In the Export window, select Panoramic Video, change the file name, choose where you want to save it, and then set your resolution and frame rate. I recommend going with 8K resolution for best results. Leave the bitrate at the recommended setting, or switch it to high if you want to preserve the most detail. I'd also recommend turning off noise reduction. Then, I would make sure to leave on 10-bit color. This gives you higher color accuracy and smoother color transitions, which is especially useful for HDR video and professional color correction. Finally, hit Export, and your footage will be processed into an equirectangular file that's ready to be edited in Final Cut Pro. And again, this same process also applies if working with Insta360 Studio or GoPro Player for GoPro Max footage. Now that your footage has been converted, let's bring it back into Final Cut Pro. You have two options here. You can make a full 360 VR project, or you can work on a regular timeline and reframe your shots. Most of the time, you'll probably want to reframe, so let's do that. I'll press Command N to make a new project, give it a name, and set the resolution to 4K. Because the Osmo 360 records in 8K, this gives you plenty of room to reframe your shots while still keeping full 4K quality. I'll drop my first clip down into the timeline. By default, when you add a 360 equirectangular clip into a standard timeline, the field of view is set to 90 degrees and the camera is pointed forward. To adjust this, go to the Video Inspector and look under the Orientation section. For mapping type, you can choose Normal, which gives you a more standard look with less distortion and allows up to a 133-degree field of view. If you select Tiny Planet, the entire 360 sphere is mapped onto a flat plane. This is actually the mapping type I prefer to use most of the time. It gives you the option for a much wider shot whenever you need one. With your clip selected, you can start framing your first shot. Use the field of view slider to set your zoom level. To move the framing, you can use the on-screen viewer controls or the sliders in the inspector. If you want to use the viewer controls, select Orientation from the Transform dropdown, then click and drag directly on the image. A few shortcuts are helpful here. Hold Shift while dragging to lock the movement to just the X or the Y axes. Hold Command while dragging to rotate the clip. You can also turn on the horizon overlay to keep your shot level. Once your first shot is framed, you can easily change camera angles by cutting the clip in your timeline. Just blade the clip where you want the change to happen, select a new segment, and adjust the framing. When you're adjusting your framing, the controls in the inspector can be helpful too. Tilt, or the X-axis, moves the shot up and down. Pan, or the Y-axis, moves it left and right. And Roll, or the Z-axis, rotates your shot. You can also zoom in for a tighter shot, or zoom out if you want something wider. This way, a single 360 clip can give you multiple angles, almost like you have more than one camera rolling at the same time. Instead of cutting to a new angle, you can also animate the framing of your shot using keyframes. This lets you add smooth camera moves like pans and tilts without ever touching a camera in real life. Here's how it works. Move your playhead to where you want the move to start. In the inspector, open the orientation controls and click Add Keyframes. This sets keyframes for all your orientation parameters. Now, move the playhead ahead a few seconds and adjust your framing. Final Cut Pro will automatically animate the move between those 2 points. For example, we have this really cool car shot here. When the driver pulls out to pass to follow the action, we can add a keyframe, move our playhead ahead, and reframe the shot. Since we have to adjust the tilt axis, our shot ends up being upside down. We can now adjust the roll axis to flip it back, and we end up with this really cool looking camera move that'd be impossible to film with a conventional camera. For a fun way to finish a sequence, you can keyframe into a tiny planet shot. Set your playhead to the point where you want the move to begin. In the inspector, add a keyframe to your orientation controls. Now, move ahead about 20 frames, set your field of view to 360 degrees, make sure your tilt slider is at 0, and use the pan slider to adjust your orientation so your subject sits at the top of the planet. When you play it back, Final Cut Pro will animate the move, zooming out into a full tiny planet effect. This is a great way to add a unique transition or end a sequence, and it all comes from the exact same 360 clip. 360 cameras are an amazing tool, and once you know how to reframe and edit inside of Final Cut Pro, a single clip can give you multiple shots, smooth camera moves, and even a tiny planet effect. You'll be surprised at how much you can get out of just one recording. If this video helped you out, do me a favor, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I'm almost 3/4 of the way to 100,000 subs, and every single one helps. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.